The email arrived at 6:47 a.m., before Elise Caro had finished her coffee, before her son had finished his cereal, before Daniel Voss had any idea his life was already over. Subject line: Notice of Internal Compliance Review, Asset Infrastructure Division. 9 words. That's all it took. She read it twice, not because she needed to, because she'd written most of it herself, 11 months earlier, one keystroke at a time. South Bank Water and Power kept the lights on and the taps running for 2 million people across Melbourne's southeastern corridor. Elise's entire job existed to make sure nobody cheated that system. She was the last line of defense, which meant she was also the only person positioned to know exactly how to beat it. Daniel Voss found out at 9:15 that morning. He walked into a glass-walled meeting room expecting good news. He was up for a promotion, Regional Director, Infrastructure. He had been told more than once that the job was basically his. That promotion meant no more grid failures landing on his desk personally, no more 2 a.m. call-outs, a house that was actually his instead of a rental he'd been in for 6 years. Instead of good news, 2 auditors and a lawyer from legal were waiting for him. On the table between them sat a folder, 3 centimeters thick. "Mr. Voss," the auditor said, "we need to ask you about a company called Meridian Grid Solutions." Meridian had 11 invoices in that folder. All routine subcontractor work, transformer maintenance, cabling, the unglamorous jobs that keep a city's lights on. Daniel didn't recognize the dollar figures on any of them. He'd approved plenty of invoices. He'd never seen these numbers before in his life. What he also didn't recognize, not at first, were the wire transfer records clipped behind each invoice. A slice of every single payment, routed to an account structure that, 3 clicks deep, traced back to an address Daniel knew immediately, because it used to be his own address, from 4 years ago, before he moved. "I've never seen this company," Daniel said. "That's not my signature on any of these." "It's your approval code," the auditor replied, "logged from your terminal during your working hours. Here is the specific cruelty of a well-built frame. It doesn't need you to be guilty, it only needs you to be unable to prove that you aren't." And Daniel had no answer for that, because there wasn't one. 11 months before that meeting, none of this existed yet. Elise Caro had a stalled career, a son with medical bills that kept climbing, and a boyfriend nobody at South Bank knew about, who had already been passed over for this exact regional director, infrastructure promotion, twice. She also had something almost nobody else in the building had: unsupervised write access to the vendor audit trail, and no second signature required to fix what the system politely called a reconciliation error. She had flagged that exact gap herself in a memo 2 years earlier, recommending dual sign-off on every edit. That memo was still sitting in a budget queue, unfunded, because nobody spends money defending a system nobody has ever abused. There was a second layer to it. She backdated Meridian's own vendor prequalification record too, so the shell company's registration date quietly predated the migration by 9 months. If investigators ever thought to ask how a fraud this new got waved through so cleanly, the answer was already sitting in the file. It wasn't new at all. Here's the part investigators will later call unusually sophisticated. Everyone else will just call it lucky. It wasn't luck, it was timing. That same year, South Bank was mid-migration. Every vendor ID in the entire system was being converted from an old 6-digit format to a new 8-digit one. IT mandated, division-wide. Every vendor record, real or fake, was being touched, re-saved and re-timestamped that quarter, whether anyone had done anything wrong or not. She didn't need to hide one forged vendor inside a system built to flag anomalies. She only needed her forgery to look exactly like the thousands of completely legitimate records being reprocessed around it that same week. Meridian went in as entry 41 of a batch of 40. Nobody manually checks entry 41 of anything. Then, invoice by invoice, she rerouted a sliver of real maintenance spend. Work that was genuinely being done, so nothing on the actual grid ever failed, nothing a field crew would ever flag, quietly routed through Meridian instead, small percentages. Numbers boring enough that no one's eye would catch them, and every single approval code on every single invoice logged as Daniel's. It took her 4 months to learn Daniel's login patterns well enough to make it convincing. Which Tuesdays he worked late, which weeks he was traveling to site visits and wouldn't be at his terminal to notice a phantom login under his own name. Toby's occupational therapy assessment alone had come back at $4,000, due before the new school year started. Ryan's third rejection letter for a promotion arrived that same week. Neither felt like a coincidence anymore. Both felt like a countdown she was the only one keeping track of. Compliance officers, of course, have access to exactly those logs too. That was never going to be the hard part. Somewhere in those 4 months, she stopped being able to finish certain sentences, even to herself. I'm not stealing anything. The money's already being spent. I'm just moving where it says it went. She let herself get that far. She never let herself get further. Back in the present, in that glass-walled room, Daniel Voss asked twice if there was anyone at all, who could vouch for him. Nobody answered. The silence did that for them. What Daniel didn't know, what he would never know, was that the compliance officer sitting 2 seats down from him had once known him, 9 years earlier, 5 months, in a different city, under a different name of her own. And she had never told him the one thing that would have changed everything he thought he understood about why this was happening to him. What Daniel didn't know, what he clearly no longer remembered, was that the compliance officer, Elsie, sitting 2 seats down from him, wasn't a stranger. 9 years earlier, in a different city, under a different name of her own, they had spent 5 months together before either of them had ever heard of Southbank. She had told him she was pregnant. He was 33, about to leave for a job 3 states away, and he'd said, more or less, that he hoped it worked out for her. Then he was gone. New number, new city. She tried, for a while, to reach him. After that, she stopped trying. She raised their son alone, from the first ultrasound onward, and told herself she would never have to think about Daniel Voss again. She was wrong about that, but by the time he walked past her cubicle 9 years later, she had already decided exactly what she owed him.